Hey everyone, I'm Tamara, if you don't know me, and I wanted to do a video today about something that feels a little bit vulnerable. That's actually at a time I'm already feeling a bit vulnerable, my postpartum journey. But it feels important, and I'm wondering if any of you have experienced similar feelings, thoughts, emotions in your postpartum journey, either as a first-time mom or potentially with each of your new children that you've had. I personally have had one. He's 4.5 months old, and I didn't really experience postpartum depression. This video isn't about that, but what I have experienced is a bit of postpartum anxiety and kind of feelings of darkness and fear. I guess they started around 6 weeks when my in-laws were coming to visit for the first time. I had had other family members come to see the baby, but I had some in-laws from out of town coming in, and we were going to be taking them on some drives. We wanted to bring them around to beautiful areas. And well, one of the drives we were thinking to take them on is a very high highway that has a steep drop off on the one side. And I just felt very fearful about it. And I mean, I've been on it a bunch of times and I've never felt, I felt cautious, and I felt kind of the gravity of the road that you're on. It's like, you know that if you make a wrong move, or if someone on the other side makes a wrong move, you could easily be tumbling to your death. And in fact, people have gone off the side of this road, whether intentionally or unintentionally. So it's not like a completely, out there thought to think that, you could die on this road. But I feel like I was just extra kind of, worried about it with the baby. And then there was another place we were thinking to take them, which again was kind of high up, and if you make a wrong step, you could step off the cliff and go tumbling to your death. And so I guess it's not unreasonable that I was a little bit fearful of taking my new 6-week-old baby on these expeditions, I guess you could call them. And luckily we didn't even end up taking any of these drives. We went on much milder drives that were not nearly as kind of sketchy, but still I noticed myself kind of being extra fearful about bringing my child out on just various journeys, or even just taking a walk outside and like the steps outside our house, our metal stairs. And I wasn't fearful when I was going down the steps, but sometimes I would just kind of be ruminating in my mind, thinking about what could happen if I make a wrong step. And so I guess I just noticed myself being extra fearful about going out. And it didn't keep me from going out. And once I was out, I was I made sure to be present in the moment and not kind of remembering, or at least not holding on to these fearful thoughts. Instead, I would just act cautiously and presently and mindfully. But sometimes I'd be laying in bed nursing him, and I would just be kind of getting like fearful about what could possibly happen when I'm out with him. And like, things that I do every day that normally I would not think twice about doing, I started being like, oh God, what if I do this wrong? Or, what if this happens? Obviously, if I fall and hurt my knee or something by myself, it's no big deal. But if I'm holding my baby and I make a wrong step and I fall, it could be seriously a problem. So it's not to say it's unreasonable, but I just found myself having increased anxiety. And I would even have some anxiety when I was out and about and we were walking around. I guess I just felt the vulnerability of being a woman with an infant, a mother with an infant. And this is something that, women have been doing for all of time. And I think there's a reason, obviously, that we feel vulnerable when we have an infant, because it's not as easy to protect yourself when you have something so small and breakable, so to speak, in your arms. So it makes sense. But I did find myself having some unfounded fears, or at least somewhat unfounded. I started laying in bed at night after feeding him. He'd go back to sleep, and I would stay up kind of worrying about potentials, like potentially people breaking in the house and, wanting to hurt me, my baby, my husband, and just like wondering what I would do. How quick can I get to the weapon, like how quick can I stop them, I guess, so to speak. And I guess I just found myself being fearful, like every night for several weeks. And I don't think that's healthy. I think it's healthy to be cautious, and it's healthy to be mindful of, potential dangers, but like just sitting there, staying up at night, worrying that someone wants to break into my house to hurt me, and then therefore I couldn't help or take care of my child. I think that is not healthy or helpful. Another thing that I found myself having problems with is kind of like demonic thoughts of demons. I had a dream about a demon possession, and so honestly I really reached to prayer, or I went to prayer to help me out. I talked with my husband about it, and I feel like this is something that we can all do, is speak with someone who's trusted, whether that's a friend or a spouse or, a priest, pastor, or even a professional therapist of some kind. We all deal with negative emotions, negative thoughts sometimes, but I think they're all the more prevalent when we have a newborn child that we are completely responsible for. And I think these are normal thoughts and feelings that so many of us deal with, and I don't know how many of us are actually dealing with it, are actually admitting to these thoughts and these feelings, because we don't want to seem more vulnerable than we are. We don't want to seem like we can't hack it or something, but I think it's normal, and I think that it's great if you can talk to someone, again, that's trusted. Now, friends or family may or may not be able to help you. I'm lucky to have a spouse who dealt with a couple years of extreme darkness in his youth, and he was able to move through it and integrate it and move past it. And now he's practically a psychologist. I mean, he's just a great person to listen to, and he's able to listen to me and then kind of give me some perspective on things. And so, yeah, I've just been really blessed to have someone to talk to, but, I think all of us can find a way to talk to someone who can be helpful. And then ultimately, I feel like, making sure we're getting good nutrition, making sure we're getting as good a sleep as we can, not reaching for the comfort foods, not reaching for the comfort items that we're used to, but making sure we're getting highly nutritious food. One thing I've noticed is making sure I'm getting enough good fat and protein, and kind of like, enough carbs to keep my breast milk up, but like not overdoing it on the carbs, and predominantly doing whole food carbs like fruit or maple syrup. And then just basically doing a lot of self-care, making sure you're getting the fresh air, the sunshine, as much sleep as you can manage, which I know is hard, and I'm sure the more kids you have, the harder it gets. But, reaching out to people for support is always a good idea. Right now we just have the one child, and we both work from home, so it's not too hard for me to get a good night's sleep, even though he's waking up, still every few hours to feed. I'm able to feed him in bed, and then we just pass back out. I mean, we co-sleep, so that really helps me get enough sleep. And then sometimes during the day when he naps, I'll try to nap, but that doesn't usually happen. I'm usually wanting to, get things done around the house. Anyways, I don't know what more to say on the subject other than I've really found prayer to be helpful, and I've started going back to church a couple weekends in a row just to see how that feels. And whether you're religious or not, if you can reach out to a higher power, it really seems to make a difference. At least it has in my life. I don't want to push anything on anyone else. I kind of turned away from religion for many years and was just kind of spiritual and did all that. And, that was helpful in some ways, but I think actually being able to communicate with what I can now call God, that has been very powerful. So I'm not perfect. I still have feelings of anxiety from time to time, but I think time as well has helped. Just, you know, my baby is a little bit older now. I'm more used to being out and about with him, and I'm just like not fearing kind of the random things that I was fearing before. And like I said, it was kind of just a few week period where I was having a lot of thoughts of fear and just some darkness, you know, but I've really moved past it, and I hope that you can get the help that you need if you're dealing with anything like this, or you're maybe about to give birth and you're thinking about what you might be able to do postpartum. Just know that it's normal if you do have these thoughts and fears, but I hope you don't. And anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.